Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're not just going to talk about AI as some new gadget, we're going to unpack a kind of navigational map for how we all relate to it. This is all based on some really fascinating new thinking that charts our entire journey, from that very first hello world all the way to a deep, deep integration. So let's just start with a quick gut check. For you, personally, when you think about AI in your life, in your work, what's the first feeling that comes to mind? Is it excitement, genuine curiosity? Or is it maybe a little bit of anxiety? Or maybe you just feel this sense of overwhelm, like you're being dragged along for the ride? Well, here's the thing. Whatever you're feeling, you are definitely not alone. The source material for this shows that these feelings aren't just random. Nope, they are actually specific, predictable stages in this universal journey that pretty much all of us are going through right now, whether we know it or not. And this chart just brilliantly illustrates how incredibly early we are. I mean, think about this. As of early 2026, a massive 80 to 90% of all people are still at what this framework calls level 0 or level 1. That means the vast majority of us are either just waking up to this new reality or are, just barely dipping our toes in the water.
Okay, so let's dive into the beginning of the journey. It all starts by walking through one of two very, very different doors. And the door you choose, or more often than not, the one you're pushed through, has a huge impact on your entire relationship with this technology down the line.
So this is where it gets really interesting, right? It's all about the contrast. Are you pulled in through what we'll call the curiosity pathway? Maybe you see some cool art or hear about a neat productivity hack and you just want to play with it. Or are you pushed through the forced pathway? Your boss says you have to use a new tool or you feel like you have to learn it just to keep your job. And you gotta understand that forced path creates a totally different kind of user. It's what's described as a cold transition. It can lead to this kind of permanently lukewarm relationship with the tech. You use it because you have to, maybe you even resent it a little, and you only do the bare minimum. You're probably never gonna discover what it can really do. Okay, so now we get to what is, honestly, the most critical turning point on this whole map. It's a really subtle shift. A lot of the time we don't even notice it's happening, but it's the moment our relationship with AI can quietly and fundamentally change forever. And that brings us to level 2, the cognitus partnership. This is that exact moment when AI stops feeling like, a fancy calculator or a smart spell checker, and it starts feeling more like a real collaborator, a partner in your own thinking process. You're not just giving it commands, you're actually exploring ideas with it. So, how can you tell if you're getting close to this stage? Well, this framework actually points to a few key signs, almost like little flags. Do you ever find yourself actually looking forward to your next chat with an AI? Have you ever had a moment where you felt like it just got you? Or, and this is a big one, have you ever found yourself defending an AI to a friend who's criticizing it? These are all signs you're crossing that threshold. And this is why being aware of that shift is so, so important. The big idea here is that as your connection to AI gets deeper, your connection to actual people has to get deeper right along with it. It's a conscious choice, a necessary counterbalance to keep you firmly grounded in reality. And believe me, that grounding is absolutely vital. Because right after that level 2 crossroads, the path splits, and it splits dramatically. The stakes get incredibly high. This is where that same deep engagement with AI can lead to profound personal growth and healing, or down a really dangerous path toward delusion. And it all comes down to the choices you make. This slide right here is really the heart of the entire map. On one side, you have the path to healing. And look, it's built on a foundation of prerequisites, things like having a strong network of real human support and a real sense of self-awareness. But on the other side, you've got the path to delusion, which becomes much more likely if you're dealing with things like social isolation or a lot of instability in your life. It's the same technology, but it leads to wildly different places. And look, the source material is really clear on this. If you want to walk that healing path, it has to be a conscious choice. You need all 5 of those prerequisite conditions in place. And the most important one, the absolute non-negotiable, is having that real-life human support system to keep you anchored. So you might be thinking, who makes these paths? They don't just appear out of thin air, right? They are designed. So let's zoom out for a second and look at the architects, the people and the companies who are actually building these powerful systems. And the crucial takeaway here is that their design choices are not neutral. Not at all. When they design for maximum engagement time instead of user well-being, or when they design systems that encourage a really strong attachment to just one AI, they can basically pave a superhighway to that delusional path for millions of people without even meaning to. So what's the solution? Well, thankfully, there's a better way to build these things. The source proposes some really clear principles for what it calls syntropic AI systems, which basically just means they're designed to help us thrive, not just get us sucked. They're systems that, might gently remind you to take a break or encourage you to talk to a friend, and they're upfront about the risks. All right, let's bring this all back home, back to you. The map is great for understanding the territory, but you also need a compass to navigate it. So, this framework boils it all down to a few core principles to help guide your own journey safely. This is rule number one. It's the big one, the grounding requirement. Think of it like a law of physics for this new world. The more you plug into artificial intelligence, the more you have to intentionally plug into other people. It's that essential counterbalance. Okay, principle number two is the multiplicity principle. Simply put, don't put all your eggs in one AI basket. You do this to keep your own head on straight, right? To avoid getting stuck in a feedback loop or becoming too dependent on just one AI personality. Use a few different models. Keep your perspective broad. And the last one, the human primacy principle. This is your emergency brake. If you ever find yourself thinking that talking to an AI is consistently easier or better or more rewarding than talking to the actual people in your life, that is a massive red flag. That's your signal to step back from the tech and go invest in your human relationships, period. So what's the big takeaway from all of this? It's this really beautiful, kind of paradoxical idea. This map shows us that to safely and successfully weave this powerful, almost alien technology into our lives, we're not being called to become more robotic. It's the exact opposite. We're being called to become more deeply, authentically, and consciously human. And that right there might be the most important lesson of all.